Hey everyone, it's your boy Sips back with another video again. Just that everyone, I'll be reviewing my book now. Uh, I'll be reviewing chapter 2 of the book. Just like I've said on the first video and the last one, that each and every chapter would be reviewed each and every week so that I can upgrade my YouTube channel and all of that. And everyone, as you know, that they've been using the spiritual world to make failures into people's life, all of that, just because of what they are praising and think that maybe they are praying to God, but it's the influence that they have in the world. This second chapter is the huge influence our parents and parents teaching have. The life of being depending was the best life, but a life that I regret after finishing school because of how I noticed that my father was teaching me to be a man that's independently, but thought that he was teaching me to be lazy because he always told me to go to school and study so that one day I may be able to grow the company. The reason of me thinking that he was teaching me to be lazy is that on school holidays I always ask for work from him, but he always told me to finish school first. The thing that I remember teaching me is that you do some work then get paid, because of how he used to send me and my friends to go and fetch uh, plank dust, some plank dust to pour on the room floor of where they groom chickens to be sold. When they grew enough, where he used to pay us 10 rand each for a sack or two. The one thing that I learned was the position he was into of making us do something and pay us, not what he made us do to earn the money. The lesson of buying people's time, not knowing that I was being thought of selling your time. His teaching made me much exciting and made me to never quit in school until I finished my matric in 2021, after failing and encouraging myself to never quit because of the past years I went through until I reached my parents' goals. After I passed my matric with a diploma, I went to Port Elizabeth to go and apply at college to study marketing, and I never got a space and had no funds to go to a private college. I had to take a gap year and had to go back to my hometown because I had no job at the city but can work at my father's company if I can go back home. I went home with a backup career that I wished to acquire if I never got the chance of getting into college, which was forex trading, but needed more knowledge about trading and the capital. So I thought that working with my father would give me the opportunity of studying on how to manage a business, trading, and also earn my capital with a mentorship from my father's partner who was taking care of the company's finances. Was my father was managing labors, but I only had the chance to be working as a labor. Then that is where I experienced the money. That money is hardly earned, a thing that my father never taught me verbally when I grew up, but notice it, he taught me physically by buying my time when I grew up. With me having the mindset of spending money on desires and enjoying with friends, the hard work I experienced was working under the person who never taught me verbally but only taught me physically, so that I can be able to see that in life it is either you sell time or buy time, so that I can take the path of education and think of which path I would like to choose, because my life never went as the way that it was planned about going to college or varsity to get a degree and be able to manage a company. Because of financial problems, I had to choose a path earlier than I should have. I had to be a hard-working labor by selling my time. I told myself not focus on the pain I felt was earning the money, but focused on improving my knowledge, then changing the much thinking and lazy me. I only thought of a way of combining the way I did my work by thinking of a way that I could do the job I was given in a short time. Lazy person mindset, and made sure I did it with my willpower and perfectly hardworking person mindset. The process of changing myself made me develop a lot of changes in my life. It made me to distance myself from other people because of how hard I had to work, read that books to make sure that I can be able to know much about trading forex in a short time, be able to think of ways of doing my job easy for me, and also think of how I can be able to raise capital, take care of my desires, and be able to provide for my daughter with the little salary I earned. I made sacrifices that made many people unhappy, even me, but I told myself to stick on what I want rather than what people want me to be. Was on the other hand, my father was not happy of who I'm becoming, not knowing that he has a hand in who I am becoming, because I always looked after him, wanting to be just like him, but being through what I have experienced made me to want to be more than him. I tried my best to study every book so that I could get the opportunity to study about how to make profit in trading, how to manage my finances and business finances, from books like Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert T. Kiyosaki, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, and The Art of Trading Refined by Ralph Wayne. This book had much huge influence in my life. Even the authors who wrote the book story of reaching success inspired me to not look down on myself and focus on what I would like to achieve in life. And looking back at my past and learned that education may be most important thing that may take you from nothing to something, but also your mindset could be a much powerful tool that may take you from nothing to something. If you could focus on strengthening your heart and mind to go through the journey that you would like to go through, because it would be harder than the one you go through when you have chosen education. I chose to chase success without being educated so that I can achieve the lesson that I never taught at school, but only taught through reading successful author books and experience, so that I can be able to pay for my own education. Now, lessons I have learned from books and experiences are that you can plan for your future finance stability by investing, saving, and growing your cash flow. That do not quit until you reach your dreams of being financially free, because there are a lot of ways that can make you financially free without breaking the law or having any higher education qualification. That no one would act on your behalf in changing your life into a positive direction without interest, perspective, and self-love more from yourself than inter perspective from people moving into the same direction that most people choose. Uh, Three things that never come back in life: time, word, and opportunity. Therefore, do not waste time. Choose words. Do not miss the opportunity. Confucius. Yeah, everyone, just like I have said in the video, in the past video, that I'll be reading a chapter, then going through that chapter, like telling you the story of that chapter about how, like the what inspired me to write that chapter about and everything about, and like that inspired those words away. As like I was saying, like in my introduction, that what I'm saying in this chapter, it's not about, and in this book, it's not a proven or, and it's not like it's just a story that this people say it's a theoreticalized, it's a theory story. Let me say so. Just because it's a thing that's been taught, like think it through your mind, then act towards it. Just because some of the things that are in the story are things that happened. As you can hear, like the name of the book, feelings of earning money. Indeed, every steps that I've went through, and and the experience that I've felt travel and through my past years of school, yabo, and the years that I've went out of school, the knowledge that I've seen, yabo, and the differences that I've seen from school and whilst I'm out of school, the differences and the experiences, that's what like I'm trying to share here through the book and all of that. And also the life that I thought was good for me, like, and that life like what was let me say was changing me or was influencing me in a negative way, which I never noticed was I was into those steps that time. So those influences made a lot of confusion into my life to a point whereby I was like, no man, life has a purpose. No one is just made to come in earth and live a life happily and like do all these bad things, then just die. And there is something that you were done to come and like pursue in life. And that's whereby I took my steps and like, okay, let me find my purpose. Then I got my purpose, which was writing and all of that. And there are some other skills that I had before even writing, just because I was a skillful soccer player back then. When I was still young, I could have qualified when I was still like younger than I am, just because I was too strong in football. But there were no like type of opportunities that I can get into, like the type of opportunities that I need into the town that I grew up into, will just make me that successful. So those who wanted those opportunities and saw that they saw opportunity in like using like the spiritual world and taking those and taking certain steps. For example, for example, if like there are some niggas who saw me stronger than them, some of them like would have went, or maybe they have went like to spiritual healers and be like, why is that guy that strong in football? I would like to be like him and all of that. Not knowing that would cause or be like, maybe for example I'm their opponent in a football game, they would go to spiritual healers and be like, that guy is the strongest in that team, so we would like you to kill his power of being strong. That had an influence to my football and all of that, to anything, and like to the environment. A thing that you go and ask from a spiritual healer has an influence in the like physical world, like, but in a way that people wouldn't expect and all of that, or in a way that they do it, maybe some not believing that they would happen. When that thing happened, they like, now they act lost, but they have like something to do with that thing that happened to that type of person. So here on this thing, it's like on this chapter, the probably in every chapter that I've wrote, there's a quote beneath in every chapter. This one is like three things that never come back in life: time, word, and opportunity. Meaning that you shouldn't waste your time in like let me say judging yourself that you would qualify on this, you won't qualify on this, and you are not able to do this unless you act on that type of thing or type of way. If you like, maybe your mind can come up with an idea and be like, do this, but take this and take this and do this. That thing is still in your mind, but you're still judging in doing it actionally, like in acting towards it. That causes like your brain to be dumb more than it is, like when you're not acting on it, or when you're not taking that action. Just because the more you don't act, it's the more you won't test those skills, the more you won't like be powerful in what you would like to do. But the more you think of it and act towards it, it's the more you get practical and know your skills and your weaknesses and what you can do and what you cannot do. So you would know yourself when you don't waste your time, but only think of something and act towards it. And just like I did, I've always been like acting towards my time, man. Just because I finished school, just because it was my time of finishing school. I'm the one that went to school, not the school came to me. Meaning that I'm the one that went and spent my time in school, so that I can get the matric qualification, and so that I can qualify of being a private pilot. But just because I also qualify of being a private pilot, also paid them the money so that I can get in. But it was the choices of the school, and also the government and the people around me that who had the negative energies, and those who use the spiritual world in a negative way, that have had a bad influence, that made me to not get the sponsor of being that private pilot that I wish to be or I could have been, whilst I had the qualification of being, meaning that I took the steps of applying and also took the steps of having my matric certificate so that I can qualify of doing that. I took the steps of doing pure maths and physics and some other languages that made me to qualify for the type of course. So meaning that I didn't waste my time, but now it wasn't my opportunity to say, okay, you can be whatever you want to be. But if I had that cash anytime, I would be whatever I wanted to be. But the problem is now it is the money. Meaning that now it is what is created by the government, not what's being presented by the world. Just because that's what being presented by the world, and there's something that being presented by the government, meaning that now it's the physical world, the people around me, and also the spirits that they use, who are against what I would like to be and who are against what I would like to, and all of that. So it's like that. It wasn't my choice, just because the only choice that I have. It's having the knowledge of doing what I want to do, and also qualifying like into what I would like to do. That's the only action that I have about in that. But I don't have like the action of being like, okay, now I should, in January the course is starting, so I would be there in January, I'll be having everything that I need. It doesn't depend on me, but on the sponsor, of if they pay the money and all of that. In that I'm not the one who's holding me back, but the environment and the sponsor and all of the things that should give me that opportunity, as I am going to go through this this quote, and there's the second one. It's a word, so it's like, mind your words, mind what you say to other people. Don't be disrespectful to others and all of that. So you should always like earn your respect from other people, like respect them so that they can respect you back. So just because respect is earned, respect is not something that you just demand and be like, it's because you're the boss. Even if you can beat everyone else in a place, that doesn't mean that you should disrespect others, but only give them respect so that they can give you back, so that you wouldn't have to go to a physical conflict every time you get to talk, just because you'll always go to a physical conflict whereby you'll fight, and there would be a lot of confusion and all of that. So some other things are guided by your words, about what you say to them. Maybe if you can say something, they would have a better understanding and be like, no man, this guy is talking the truth here, so let me not fight him, let me understand, or let me take the advice that he's giving and use it at another time. So it's like that, everyone. And like there is a third one, just like, let me say, also word also affects, just because, for example, like there are students that were affected by for example, like the when I say words, are effective, like for example, I've read some books also from authors. Those are also words that they were sharing. It's not that now they should be spread by mouth to be words, but they are words also just because I read them from the book that they wrote. So those words inspired me to write my own book also, and come up with my own ideas of tackling the world as it is, just because everyone has to only come up with a solution on how to survive in this world, and on how they would like to their future to be, and all of that. So words inspire people. Just for example, Nelson Mandela didn't just inspire people by going to prison. Also, there are things that he said and things that people saw from him that he really want change, so that they were inspired, meaning that the way he respected them and the way that they respected him back, so that was a relationship that was grown between them and his fans, and all of that. Just more like Steve Biko, the writer of the book Black Consciousness, meaning that his book was trying to share the black consciousness that we as black South Africans should focus in having, and like fighting for the black economy to be striving, and together. It's not that they should be racial also. Maybe once they have the higher position or the higher power, then they oppress the whites. No, it shouldn't be like that. But make sure that their power, and they use it like in a profitable way, in a way that will serve the community and also serve them, and also serve the system into being better in the economy, and to focus in doing better things for each other and all of that. And just because Steve Biko is also a writer that I admire a lot, just because of the action that he took He built a lot of clinics. He built like a lot of projects. He's made a lot of projects. Just because he built a clinic about before he died, and also he was uh, talking to people around his community about to encourage them on being better, and also the effect that he had on June 16, like the influence what he had into to influence. Yeah, but my on my understanding, the white apartheid system had its own views on what he was influencing to the other people and to his followers. So they had a different way that maybe he was influencing a protest, like a violent protest, and to the children. So that's why they went for the June 16 uprising. But his aim, on my understanding, on his writing, on his book, he wanted to influence positive mindset, like, well, just because he was also inspired by who's this guy in America who also was in the black, I think, but he was also a political leader and also a pastor, which he was inspired by him, peaceful marches and all of that. Yeah. So he wanted that to happen. So he wanted like those children to march peacefully and meet up at a certain place whereby they would come up with ideas that now, okay, we don't need this, we don't want this in our studies and all of that. What we need is this to survive the path that we are born at and all of that, just because we are born at different places and all of that. So the education that we get, it's made for everyone. It's like one size fit all. Yeah, but it's not about now, okay, there are some people who live in this environment, so they need this type of education so that they can survive that type of environment, like, and produce for things for them, so that they can get money, so that they can try to strive out of the economy. But it's only given like one knowledge about that we expect would work for everyone, but it wouldn't work. But that's why now we end up into different things. For example, others end up into drug addicts, others end up being successful, others end up being in a leveraged life whereby they end up as employees, and all of that. Others end up being more than successful than them, having their own businesses and all of that. You see, so it's not about what you were like back at those days. But it was about where you come from, but now that they've give us the freedom, like our freedom leaders have like fought for our freedom, now it's like up to us. Now, okay, are you going to go to school and pass your grade 12 and go to college, like, and try to strive to be a better person by yourself, or are you going to look at yourself going down, being like a useless person, so that others can look down on you and all of that? But if you look down on yourself, others would look down on you. So it's all about interest perspective more than inter-perspective from others. Self-respect is important than everything. So words are inspiring. Also, Robert Kiyosaki, in this book, I'm also trying to share something like that. Then I also got knowledge from, just like, for example, I got knowledge from my father, like the same way Robert Kiyosaki says in this book that he got knowledge from his father, which he says he had a rich dad and a poor dad. The one that was selling his time, more like the same thing that my father was trying to teach me, just because he was buying my time to be like, okay, don't go to play now, now I am in need for playing dust, and just because I want to pour this playing dust on this chicken room, so that this chicken won't catch cold, and some of them would die, so would make a loss, and all of that. So he was thinking of his own business, so he had to buy our time. The same way his rich dad, like, on the other side, bought other people's time, and the way that he was educating him that now, no, I'm not going to pay you, but you're going to work for me, but I'm not going to pay you. But he was taught like that by his rich dad on his store, that no, he told him that I'm not going to pay you, but you're going to work for me and all of that. But my father was like, no, bro, I'll give you 10 rand, go and fetch planks that's there, just because I want to need it for you. I'm going to need it for this room, so that I can, end of the month, or when the chickens are well grown, I can sell them and make money for the household. Then I took that as like a teaching, which at that time I got it like on the way that he was teaching me, just because I was getting the knowledge that he was giving me. For example, I understood the position he was into of paying me whilst I go for the dust planks. he was buying my own time, so I had to leave to play and go and do what he wanted me to do. So I got that knowledge. But later on, as I grow, I was like, oh man, okay, I can see now, Yabolan. Okay, time is also sold here, Yabolan, and all of that. So that's why I got that knowledge and all of that, Yabolan. And I also have some other like people who which I learned from also around, Yabolan. It's like my uncles, like my cousin's fathers also, Yabo, just because he was also a working man also, Yabo. So I also compacted all the knowledge of like people who are around me and was like, no, let me study from everyone. I didn't like just look at the person when he was doing something and like being is doing that and not take knowledge or from that. I always took knowledge. Okay, this type of person wants to react like this and all of that. So that's how I read the economy and understood the economy and how people should live. Yeah. And on the third one is like opportunity. Opportunity. When they say opportunity, like therefore not do not miss the opportunity. It's like when you have to show up at a certain place, like you've been called or you're trying to get a job or something, yeah, or you would like to do something, yeah, anything, man, that would like improve your life, yeah, so do not miss it. Make sure that now you use that opportunity so that even if you don't get that opportunity, like they reject you there, they say you're not good enough. But when I feel as if you were good enough, but there's something that was short or there was an influence, yeah, or that influenced them into not you getting that opportunity. Just because where now you would have to always be prepared, yeah, and put into your like your full potential and what you would like to achieve and be like, no, you're going to achieve it. Even if you haven't achieved it yet, be like, no, man, you are going to achieve it, even if it's not now, but the time is coming. It's not your time, maybe at that certain time, but when I make sure that you are prepared and you are sharing a great story about to them so that the people can see themselves as not wasting time into giving you that opportunity or you see maybe giving you that fund if you wanted money and all of that. So you should always show up for an opportunity and do not miss it, and all of that. Just like I did also, I showed up to all the opportunities that I needed. Also went on my couple of other business journeys whereby I got some other cash. I went through like I got like some cash, like I had about 25k about to invest. I didn't know what to do with this 25k, and I was like, hey, this 25k had to be kept for like a long time just because I don't work and all of that. But this 25k, if I can spend it on one weekend, I'm like, would be brokest motherfucker, and like I would be blowing it. But I was like, let me go and invest it. I tried some opportunities of like trying to get a bond, whereby a person like the another woman, he owns a bond, loan company, whereby he goes to the bank. He's like the middleman, yeah, like the broker, whereby you come to him and be like, no, I'd like to have a loan, a house loan, whereby it go to the bank and get that loan for you. Then you can own that home and pay him back or them back. But I tried doing that with that 25k, but I missed that opportunity. It's not that it's me, but it's the people around me or the spiritual world, or I don't know, whatever that had the influence of making those type of opportunity to miss me. But it's all there, like just because I, as myself, I would say I always put my full potential in acting towards those things, and I was like, I had a full plan and I had a full way of giving them back their money. It was already planned on a paper and all of that, and they could see now, but now, okay, this person is talking the truth. If everything can go as he plans on the paper, but some were praying those things to not happen like as it plans on that paper, as they always share the negative spirit, and you can't change their action, but only can change your action on what you act towards and showing up for that opportunity and making sure that opportunity doesn't miss you. Just because if it misses you, meaning that now you didn't even see your failures if it misses you and you are not there to pitch up and all of that. So you won't see your failures and all of that. It's better if you pitch up and be rejected. Then you would know now, okay, this person didn't like me if he didn't like you, or he didn't like the plan, or there were errors on what your calculation and all of that. You would see everything, man, or it's the energy around you, or it's the spiritual world. Maybe they've used witchcraft on you about to not get that opportunity and all of that, yabo. So it's all about you noticing the environment around you, and that's why, like, the company you keep, it's much important, yabo. The people you keep around you, just because if you spend more time with five dumb people, you end up being the six, and if you spend much time with five clever people, you end up being the six clever. So it's all about the number of people that influences you. So now we're living in a choice taking environment now, more than like back in the days whereby we were living in a non-choice like taking, where you had to be forced, like the apartheid system, you had to be forced. Well, I suppose, if you're black, you wouldn't like be successful unless the white economy wants you to be successful, or if you're under their wing and all of that. So it's all those things that inspire, and yeah, well, and that was my writing, everyone. Just that, see you on another video. Hello everyone, it's your boy Seeps. See you again. Press that subscribe and also press that like button. Allah.